Anger has swept Turkey as the extent of the disaster became clear, with protests aimed at mine owners accused of ignoring safety for profit, and at Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan's government, seen as too cozy with industry tycoons and insensitive in its reaction to the tragedy. And stop spraying us with water. Go spray the mine. Maybe you can finally put the fire out, shouted one man among the crowd, which had been trying to march towards a statue in the town center honoring miners when police blocked the route and sprayed from armored trucks. And the confirmed death toll in the disaster reached 292 as Energy Minister Taner Yildiz said 8 more bodies were found in the mine on Friday evening. Some 10 more people were believed still trapped and unlikely to be alive, 3 days after fire sent deadly carbon monoxide coursing through the mine. And Turkey has experienced a decade of rapid economic growth under Erdogan, but worker safety standards had failed to keep pace, leaving it with one of the world's worst industrial accident records. And no coal can warm the hearts of children whose fathers died in the mine, read one handwritten sign in the crowd of mine workers and residents. And the police intervention in the mourning town could add to public anger towards Erdogan. He survived mass demonstrations and a corruption probe into his government over the past year to remain Turkey's dominant politician, but now risks alienating conservative, working-class voters that form his party's base. And footage emerged of him apparently slapping a man as residents jeered and jostled his entourage when he visited Soma this week. The man, Taner Yildiz, said Erdogan had indeed slapped him and told Kanal G TV he was then beaten by the Prime Minister's bodyguards. An Alaska Party spokesman Hüseyin Çelik said there was no visual evidence of Erdogan striking anyone, while his advisor Yalçın Akdoğan, writing in the Star newspaper, accused gang members of provoking the Prime Minister's team as he went to meet mourning families. And police have clashed with protesters in Turkey's 3 biggest cities Istanbul, Ankara and Izmir in recent days. Anger was intensified by a photograph of an Erdogan aide kicking a protester held down by police special forces. And putting makeup on the mine, and officials from the mine held a tense news conference, giving their most detailed account so far of what had happened. An unexplained buildup of heat was thought to have led part of the mine to collapse, fanning a blaze which spread rapidly more than 2 kilometers below the surface, the mine's general manager Ramazan Dagru told a news conference. And it was an unbelievable accident in a place where there have been very few accidents in 30 years, Soma Holding Chairman Alp Gürkan said. A mine with top-level miners, accepted as being the most trustworthy and organized. And opponents of Erdogan blamed the government for privatizing leases at previously state-controlled mines, turning them over to politically connected businessmen who they say may have skimped on safety to maximize profit. And questioned on the relationship between Soma Holding executives and Erdogan's ruling Alaska Party, mine boss Dagru confirmed his wife was a local Alaska Party politician. Company chairman Gürkan said he had never met the Prime Minister before this week. And the Alaska Party said a formerly state-run mine at Soma, 480 kilometers, 300 miles, southwest of Istanbul, had been inspected 11 times over the past 5 years. It denied any suggestion of loopholes in mining safety regulations. But some mine workers questioned the inspection procedure. And the inspections were carried out with a week's notice from Ankara and we were instructed to get ready, said one miner in Soma who gave his name as Ramazan, reluctant to identify himself further for fear of retribution by his employer. And it was like putting makeup on the mine. And thousands gathered afternoon prayers on Thursday for mass funerals at Soma's main cemetery, where more than 100 tightly packed graves have been newly dug. Efforts continued to retrieve those still trapped. And Energy Minister Taner Yildiz said a team of inspectors and prosecutors had entered parts of the mine which were safely accessible to begin an investigation. And, glowing coal falling, plant manager Hüseyin Çelik said there was no question of negligence on the part of the company. Gürkan was more cautious, saying he would wait for an inquiry led by the Labor Ministry. And, if there is neglect within the operations, a mistake, a shortcoming, I'll follow up legally to ensure those responsible are punished, he said, adding a foundation would probably be established to pay compensation to the families of the dead. And initial reports blamed a fault at an electrical substation, but the crew said the fire had started when a coal seam grew hot. And the heated-up area collapsed with pieces of glowing coal falling, causing the fire to quickly spread. It has nothing to do with the substation, he said. Ensilik, the plant manager, said intense smoke had then blocked the miners' way out, with visibility dropping to zero. He pointed to an escape route on a diagram which he said the trapped miners had been unable to reach. And he estimated that efforts to pump clean air into the mine had helped to save around 100 workers. The company said 122 miners had been hospitalized and a further 363 had either escaped on their own or were helped to safety. And additional reporting by Humera Pamuk, Darren Butler, Seda Caesar and Gilson Silaker, writing by Nick Tattersall, editing by Philippa Fletcher and Peter